everyone, this is Callie. Welcome to a Stamped Timber exclusive with our sponsor Pink & Main. This Love You Snow Much set is adorable. We welcome back these marshmallow snowmen and I just adore them so much, and I'm so excited to share this card with you. So let's get started here. Just wanted to give you a quick look at what that stamp set looks like. I'm going to stamp 3 of the 4 images and then I'll be coloring them with Copic markers. Now the Copic process is going to be sped up a little bit, but it's kind of nice for you to see from beginning to end what that looks like as we transform these little images from white to fully colored. On these white snowmen, I wanted to give them a bit of reflective color from the snow. For the snowmen, you can use any of your favorite colors. Most of the time, I go for a light gray, but this time I decided to use BG11 and BG10. Then I'm using some gray markers on these adorable little penguins. Then to add pops of color everywhere else, I'm introducing some reds for the mittens and some of the Santa hats. And then we'll introduce some blues as well for the scarves and gift presents that are in the images. And then I'll introduce some purples as well as more teal. And when we're done with all of the images, because I don't have the dies for this stamp set, it does come with dies, by the way, so if you want dies and they're important to you, be sure to snatch those up before the September exclusive sells out. I'm going to be doing some fussy cutting, which I don't mind at all. It just takes a few minutes. So after fussy cutting, I decided to use a gel highlight pen to go ahead and add some little gel highlights all over the images before setting them aside to work on my background. Okay, so now let's work on our background. Because one of our images is a snowman on a sled, I decided that I needed to create a slope for him to coordinate with that image. So I'm using a die from the Simon Says Stamp Stitch Slopes and Hills, and I'm going to die cut a hillside. So I'm going to die cut from white cardstock, and then to give that hillside some color, we're going to be ink blending it with some Salvage Patina Distress Oxide ink. I'm just using a dab of ink, not too much. We don't want to use too heavy of a hand. We just want it to look like snow, and it's going to reflect a little bit of color. Then for the sky, I wanted to use some pinks and purples. So I'm using some Tattered Rose at the bottom where the sky meets the hillside. And then I'm going to use some Shaded Lilac here for the upper portion of my card panel. Again, use a really light hand. I want that pink to really blend into the purple, so I'm using a really light hand on both of these colors. I'm going to alternate between the Tattered Rose and the Shaded Lilac to get that smooth blend, and once I'm happy with that, I'll intensify the top portion of my sky using Wilted Violet Distress Oxide ink. I'm using the same purple brush, so that Shaded Lilac color is really going to blend with that Wilted Violet pretty well. Now to give my background some texture, I'm going to go ahead and spritz it with some water, and that'll give it a dreamy snowfall look. And then I'm going to add some white paint splatters as well. I'm using a drop of acrylic paint with a little bit of water to get the consistency that I like. Then I'll splatter that background for an intensified snowy look. Next, I can go ahead and add some adhesive to that slope that we ink blended, and then I can attach that to my background. Anytime I ink blend a background, I want some really clean edges. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit. I'm just going to trim off 1/8 of an inch off all of the sides, get it all nice and clean, and then I can go ahead and set up my scene. I'm going to use some low profile 3D foam squares here to adhere my images. I adhered this one down first, and I should have done what I normally do is I lay out all of the images and make sure they're exactly where I want them to be before I adhered them down. So I did have to peel up that first image and move him, but then I can go ahead and move him and make room for that third image. Last but not least, we're going to stamp the sentiment. I'm just going to use some black ink and stamp a little sentiment here in the bottom left corner. And then we can go ahead and adhere this to a card base, and my card is done. I hope you enjoyed this project. Thank you to Pink & Main for being a Stamped Timber sponsor. If you enjoyed this card and the products, be sure to grab your set before it sells out. This Stamped Timber exclusive is sold in a limited quantity, so once it's gone, it will not be restocked. Everything will be linked below for your convenience. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!
I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at SimonsSaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.